"I'm gonna rock your world," is what you promised her over text. But 2 minutes in, reality hits. You're on the verge of becoming a two-pump chump. 2 minutes can be a long time, though. Think about it, 2 minutes on fire is an eternity. But what about 2 minutes bumping nasties between the sheets? How do you really stack up to the average duration people spend inside one another? Are you a champion in the sheets or only pretend to play one in the streets? Because if science has it right, and it rarely doesn't, the average sex duration is shorter than you think, which means a lot of you are driving the average time spent bumping uglies down. Average is pretty subjective, and estimates will vary. However, a solid 5 minutes is pretty close to the median. Now, what we're unclear on here is the methodology. Is this the time from the initiation of sex, i.e. foreplay, to climax? Well, let's be honest, his climax. Or is it only time counted from insertion of your dirty sausage to the point it's spitting up sauerkraut? We're not scientists, so we're not sure. But for the sake of believing we live in a slightly less horrifying world for women than we actually do, let's assume that it's not including foreplay. So we're dealing strictly with the hard friction part of sex. You doing your best to start a fire with the help of your partner's crotch or butt. Media portrayals of sex typically come from porn, and here it's all about duration. Average porn can last anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes, with maybe 5 minutes of preamble story time. So that's anywhere from twice to 3 times the amount of bumping uglies that real people do, which creates a really bad metric for comparison. This can lead to significant pressure on couples, but it's important to remember that porn is fake. There's frequent breaks and pauses, just like Vin Diesel isn't actually jumping cars off of cliffs to land inside of airplanes. Your favorite porn stars are not smashing for half an hour straight. Somewhere in between there are bathroom breaks, water breaks, breaks to adjust shots and lighting. It's all very unsexy when you really think about it. Averages seem to be relatively constant around the world, though, so kiss goodbye to your fantasies of European lovers. They'll be serving you creme fraiche just as quickly as your domestic men. In one study published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine, a group of sex therapists was asked to rate how long sex should last. In this case, it was regular old, boring, heterosexual vaginal intercourse. The therapist reported that between 1 and 2 minutes was far too short, while 10 to 30 minutes was too long. That sweet spot seemed to be somewhere between 3 and 7 minutes, but 7 to 13 minutes was the most desirable. The real question, though, is how long you and your partner enjoy sex for. A study of 500 couples asked them to use a stopwatch, probably held by the woman, to time themselves from penetration to ejaculation. The fastest time clocked was 33 seconds, which we have no comment on. If you find yourself in similar straits, try thinking about your sweet old grandmother for a guaranteed sex extender. That's free of charge. But just remember, she was a freak too when she was your age. If we haven't ruined sex for you forever by reminding you of the fact that your grandparents were as sexually voracious as you are today, and studies show they probably still are, then the longest recorded duration was 44 minutes. On average, though, the length of penis on vagina sex, the classic if you will, was between 3 and 7 minutes. By the way, that study did track where the couples were located, and if you're wondering who was coming up short with the lowest runtime, it was Turkey. So for those frustrated Turkish women out there, if the local guys are leaving you drier than an overcooked kebab, you might want to travel abroad when considering romance. It doesn't really matter what your average track time is, because above all, what matters is how much you and your partner enjoy sex. Always remember to ask them how they feel and to get to know what they like and don't like. A positive sex experience matters far more than how long you last. Now go check out What is Sexsomnia, or click this other video instead.